Hi everyone, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something one of you suggested a video on. Windsong Reads asked if I could do a video update talking about my no-buy year a few years ago. And I really hadn't, I don't even know if I really wrapped up telling you what I took away from it. I might have. I didn't go back through the footage to find if I did or not. But I do think that looking through my purchasing history from Amazon from the last 14 years, 13 years or so, I recently did that. I have shifted how I purchase things, and I wanted to kind of share with you why I've shifted. For those of you who do not know, from 2017 in October to 2018 in October, I did a no-buy year for non-essentials. I don't do very well with things that are rules, even if I self-impose them. So I gave myself a few different things I could wiggle on. First thing is, with the kids, I am obviously going to replace their clothes if they needed it replaced. Also, I was not going to impose anything on my husband, or the kids have their own spending money. I was not going to tell them, no, you can't do this, or yes, you can. It was my own personal challenge. For gifts, I could purchase it for somebody if I felt like it was something necessary for them, or if I couldn't do an experience, I tried to do more experience gifts instead of items that particular year. I think I did end up purchasing for myself one pair of shoes and maybe a pair of jeans because I needed a pair of jeans that fit me. There were a lot of times where I just didn't purchase something for myself, and I actually took away a few things from that experience. The first thing that I took away from the experience is the generosity of my friends. It's funny when you share a goal with your people and you say, I'm trying to alter how I consume things. I'm trying to alter how I look at my own purchases. Now, some people might say, oh, you can just bend the rules this one time, or you can do this, but not my friends. My friends really stepped up. And instead of enabling me or trying to give me excuses that I could use, sometimes they would just try and be generous with me, which it was a lesson to me. The first thing was my daughter, who looks adorable in everything anyway, she's 4. She really looked adorable in this jacket she tried on at Target. It was this faux leather jacket, exactly like one that I always wanted to buy for myself whenever I find the exact right one, and she looked adorable in it. And yes, I could have purchased it because it was for her, but it was not necessary. She did not need a jacket. She already had jackets. But I did take a picture of her in it and send it to one of my friends and just said, it is really hard not to buy this for her. And my friend went to the store and bought it for her because she said, yeah, she would look adorable in it, but she knew I didn't want the temptation there to purchase it. And that was it was really sweet. The other thing that I was super wanting was my friend started making these essential oil bead bracelets, and I'd purchased them for a few different friends who really needed a pick-me-up in their life, because that was gifts were allowed on my buying year if I felt like I really wanted to do it for somebody. And 2 of my friends, completely separate of each other, decided that they were going to purchase me a bracelet too. And I wear these almost every day, and just think about how much love I have in my life from those people who not only encouraged me to stick to my goal, but also wanted to bless me in the middle of it. So I don't know. Generosity. You'd be surprised. Also, there are a lot of things you can just ask somebody, hey, can I borrow this? And a lot of times they will let you borrow whatever you need, whether it's an appliance item or a dress for something or jewelry for something. You'd be surprised. You get a lot more resourceful. So that's another takeaway. The last thing that I took away is kind of how I make purchasing decisions. I will often kind of think through the entire lifespan of the item, because when we're at the store, especially if it's Target, because they have these beautiful, I don't know what kind of magic sparkly things they put in that store, but everything looks perfect, like it's going to change your life and make everything look put together and wonderful. But you know when you get it home, it's not going to have that same pizzazz that it did underneath the Target lights. So I try and think through the entire item, whether I'm looking online or in store. I look at it first of all with packaging. Does it have way extra packaging on it that I don't need? Is it something that I can make for myself? Is it something that I could find or borrow from someone else? Is this something that will actually be something that adds to my life and that reflects my values, not just for this week, but for this year, for this next 5 years? Is it something I'm going to have to replace? Is it something that will eventually break down? If it's a container, will I be able to reuse it in lots of different locations once I'm not using it for whatever I am using? So there were a lot of different purchases that I've noticed in the past year and a half, that things that were storage items, if they were not like woven basket, they were normally made out of bamboo. So I switched to doing more of those things. I started buying more local items. So if there's something that I would like, I always try and figure out, is there a local store that I could support with my dollars instead of sending it to big corporations? Do I really love this? Am I thinking about it 5 minutes after I look at it? Am I thinking about it 2 weeks after I look at it? There are a few things that, you know, you keep thinking about. Recently on Etsy, there's these beautiful vintage holiday painted glassware, like from the 60s. that had like a cute holiday scene on it. I've had that in my Etsy favorites for like 5 years, and I never bought them because I thought, well, it's not anything I really need. But I would think about them all the time, and then I just assumed, oh, someday I'll get them for myself. And then this week I looked and they're no longer there, and I don't know where they are. I can't find them. So those kinds of things, it's okay to say yes. If it's something you really are going to love and that reflects who you are and would bring joy often, then yes, go ahead and buy those things, especially if you're getting them from a responsible source. But for the most part, there are so many things that are just not going to add the same luster to your life, I suppose. The other thing that I think about often is like something that's going to break down and I'm going to have to discard? Is it something that's going to make me sad whenever it breaks down? And not in like, oh, I'm really glad that served me, but like, oh man, I can't believe I wasted my money on that and it just broke down. So I get a lot more high quality things now, especially things for the home, because I don't plan on changing out my decor every year. I might shift where I put things, but for the most part, the things that I am acquiring for our home that we've moved into now, like, are the things that I hope my grandkids look at and remember me with, not like, oh, where did this come from? So I've gotten a lot more minimalist with decorating, as well as just what I have on walls, on tables. I try and use things or fix things that have been given to me so I can repurpose them. So those are the big things that have changed since my no-buy year. It was really challenging. The first month and a half was the worst. And then after that, I didn't really care as much anymore. I spent a lot more time at the library or doing other things. I didn't spend as much time thinking about what I wasn't buying. It does also help if you uninstall apps from your phone that you frequently buy from, whether it's Etsy or Amazon or any of those things. So that's another tip for you if you are considering doing it. So I would love to know in the comments if you've done anything like a no-buy year, if you have questions about it. What do you think? How do you make decisions when it comes to purchasing things? Does my way of thinking make sense to you? Yeah, those are my questions for you in the comments. So I will talk to you all later. Bye.